No gunshots, but they getting low, 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 low.
Hey guys, Complex here, and today I'm doing a $800 PC build. This one was similar to the last one, but with some added changes. In this build, I'm still not going to go with the Skylake, because if you buy a Skylake CPU, then the price of everything else goes up, including the RAM, motherboard, and stuff like that. Eventually, Skylake processor prices will go down. It's just like the Haswell prices have gone down, so has DDR3 since DDR4s come out. And about the motherboards, new tech just always costs more, and that's what will always happen. And again, new processors come out, the prices of all this stuff will go down. But anyways, this PC will be able to run most games at 1080p max settings. I'm saying most because games like Witcher 3 and stuff like that, and also some of the newer games are requiring higher specifications. Luckily, this PC you can upgrade to an i7, which is what most of the new games are requiring. Starting this build off with the CPU as usual, I'm going with the Intel i5 4690K. This CPU is decent in rendering and editing, but what it lacks in those categories it makes up because it is a beast at gaming. Although if you are someone looking to do rendering and editing, I would go with the i7 4790K. The 4690K's quad-core CPU clocked at 3.5 GHz, which is already pretty good. You could just skip the CPU cooler and go with the stock one, save some money, like $25. But once you do overclock it, it can go up to 4 GHz, and that's a really high number, and it performs really well once you overclock it. For the CPU cooler, I just went with the standard Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. Not much to say about it, really just a standard CPU cooler. You could always go with the water-cooled CPU cooler, but it really isn't necessary. But if you are going with the i7 4790K, a water cooler may be worth it. Holding our computer together, we have the ASRock Pro 4 motherboard. It's a Z97 board, so it fits perfectly with our CPU choice. This motherboard is capable of holding up to 32 GB of DDR3 memory. It is also compatible with Crossfire, but not SLI, hence the reason I'm going with an AMD graphics card. And if you guys didn't know what Z97 meant, I mentioned it earlier. It just means the motherboard is compatible with overclocking on K-series CPUs. For the RAM, I went with the Kingston HyperX Fury Blue 2x4 8GB. Its blue color goes really well with our overall color scheme for this build, which is also really nice. And the motherboard is also blue, I forgot to mention that. Because if you guys haven't noticed, I really like having color scheme in my build. I don't really care what color as long as everything's the same, unless there's no side window, as long as the case looks nice. In this build, all you need is 8 GB. Most games are only requiring 8 GB. 16 may be worth an upgrade later on, but if you're doing rendering and editing right now, you might want to go 16. And by the way, this RAM is only clocked at 1333 MHz. That's really low, and that might run a little slow, so you could upgrade that for about $5, I'd say, and it may be worth it. For the storage, we have the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB. 1TB these days is a little small because the increasing size in games like Grand Theft Auto and some of the newer ones are almost getting around 60 GB, which is a lot for 1TB. So it may be worth an investment to go to a 2TB drive if you're stocking up a lot of games. No SSD in this build because it would just be too expensive in this price range. It's either the 120GB SSD or a 1TB hard drive. Personally, I would go with the 1TB hard drive. For the graphics card, we have the XFX R9 390. Solid graphics card made by XFX. Actually, it's what I have on my computer and it's what I use to play all my games on. And actually, I use the same processor that's in this build too. And so far, I haven't come across any games that I can't max out at 1080p and have over 40 frames per second. Personally, I prefer the 390 over the 970 because the 970 is getting a little bit slower and the 390 is performing better in most benchmarks. But anyways, here's the actual benchmarks. You guys can look at those and compare those for yourselves. As you can see, the 390 performs very well in these benchmarks, but keep in mind that the benchmarks in this video are using different processors. For the case, I found the Raid Max Cobra Z. It's a decent case. The blue plastic looks a little bit cheesy in the front, side panel's a little small and too tinted, and the wire in the front fan is a little short, but overall it's a pretty good product. It may be worth getting a nicer case from Minzy XT like the S340 or something like that. Powering the system, we have the Corsair CX 500W 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular PSU. This PSU is great for cable management because it's semi-modular and you won't have to worry about it catching fire either because it's 80 plus bronze certified. Note that it may be worth getting a 750W PSU if you're going to upgrade to do crossfire with another 390. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give me some feedback, that helps a lot. It helps me improve the videos. And if you want, subscribe, like, comment, whatever you guys want. Thanks for watching.
Bullseye.